What's going on, everybody? This is Travis from Dual Humor, otherwise known as the White Trash Ryan Yu by some, and by that I mean literally no one. Today I have a really great deck for you. It's a top contender of the Tier 5 meta, Striker Trains. It lives again. No engage. That's probably a good thing. Still a really fun deck.
It's Tier 5, man.
That's why it's Tier 5. Striker are still good. That's like the whole point, is that trains in of itself are like kind of total ass, but that's okay. I'll be the one to tell you that because I am the train man. Anyways, let's get right into the profile. I think this is a really sick one for you guys.
Okay.
Alright, starting off, we run 3 Japanese Collector Rare Pegasus to get you eliminated from the tournament early because it's not legal. Don't carry your translations with you, I swear.
That way your mom doesn't have to pay gas to pick you up again.
It's better than going X3 and getting pizza.
Yes, exactly.
Also, we run the One Night Express Night. These are kind of your train normal summons. We still run the One Night because you do want to be able to just like search this out and get your rank 10 pretty easily. It's actually kind of like your side strategy in this deck. Next, we run 3 heavy... Whoa, that's 2. Just kidding. That's right, we changed ratios. Let me go back here. So we run 2 of the Heavy Freight Train Derrick Crane, and then also 2 of the Super Express Bullet Train. So these cards are pretty good. In Striker Trains, you could potentially be running 3 of these, but we actually kind of want to mitigate the bricking of this and just search these out, either with our Urgent Schedule. This is a hard-going second deck, so that's kind of how you want to be getting into these. This card's pretty key in terms of recycling your extra deck engine and returning your OTK to hand, and the Derrick Cranes are just nice to summon onto field and get your rank 10 pretty easily. To aid in that, we have our 3 Jizukiru the Dragoon Destroyer. This card is really nice because it's searchable in this deck, and I'm going to show you guys how to do that. It's kind of like the main combo play of this deck, and why I think it actually kind of has a chance. Next, we run 3 Ash Blossom because everyone says I'm bad with it, and you know, I just like to go against the grain. Ash is pretty great. I think it's like a nice just generic trap, or hand trap to run. In terms of hand traps, we're only running 6, but, you know, I think it's still kind of nice to run it. You could be running Gamma instead, but I don't really think that that card is as useful in this deck than it is in others. Next, 3 Ray. That's right, the best conductor out there. This is pretty nice. We're kind of just running Sky Striker with a train package in it, but there are quite a lot of natural synergies between these 2 decks, which is why I run it, and I think it's actually really interesting. It's a nice way to run control with OTK. You can switch easily between both and use one to assist the other. So you could be controlling your opponent for a couple turns, building the OTK in your hand until, you know, whatever, turn 4, turn 5, you just immediately OTK them, or you whittle them down close enough that you just Gustav Max for game. That's always fun. Next, 3 Area 0. You're really going to want to run 3 of this card, just because, like, it's your engage now, and there is some pretty interesting synergies between this card and other cards in the deck. 3 Widowmaker. Yeah, we got this back at 3, boys. So this is pretty easy to resolve. We're running like 20 spells, so it's pretty easy to actually snatch this. This is why we run the Jizukiru, because we actually can take our Jizukiru back and make a rank 10 with it. That's how we get our OTK. Next, some of our board breakers, just 2 afterburners. You could run 3 if you really like bricking as much as I do, but I think this does it enough. Pretty nice, searchable, good out, also hits the back row if you have 3, which happens pretty often. Next, 2 Shark Cannon. So this card's actually really amazing still. Back in like Pure Striker, before we had Widowmaker at 3, you were running this at 3, which I could actually still see an argument for. This is a great card, called by the grave, but it doesn't negate. Also a good way to get some link fodder from your opponent's grave. If they're also running Striker because they're stupid like you can take their Striker monsters and link with them. But this card still has a lot of applications in the meta. I think you can take people's, you know, Golden Lords from the grave. You could take their Ultimate Conductor Tyrannos from the grave because you afterburners it, and actually steal it back and use it for your rank 10. So I think that there's some synergy there as well, alongside the Widowmaker for those same purposes. Then the one-ofs, we run the Hornet Drones, obviously, Hercules Base, and the multi-roll. Hercules Base is actually pretty crucial in this build, so it's kind of hard not to run it. And the draw effect can come up, which I found pretty cute. Then the one switch yard and one terraforming. So we're only running 2 copies of terraforming, or 2 copies of switch yard, excuse me. And this is just to search, but you don't really want this card too badly, but it is nice to be able to search out your, Night Express Knight if you drew the other rank 10 in hand. Also being able to create your Anger Knuckle and use this on your opponent's turn is still pretty applicable in this deck. Terraforming is just to get spells and graves. Monster Reborn, so this is actually pretty crucial in this deck as well. I love this card, love this in every single deck ever. Always run this, but you can Kaiju your opponent's Dragoon, and that's now your Dragoon. Funny. One Duster, because it's cute, and we have it back now. It's also pretty good because back row is still around. I don't know how much, though. If you were going to a tournament with some higher ranked players, I probably wouldn't main deck this. I would instead be main decking 3 Dark Ruler No More, and yes, you heard that correctly, I would main deck 3 of those. I almost think that's mandatory nowadays. Then we have our 3 Urgent Schedule. For those of you that don't know what this do, this summons a level 4 or lower, and then a level 4 or higher Earth Machine from your deck if your opponent controls more monsters than you do. That's the only stipulation on it. The other effect, why it's so applicable in this deck, is that if it is sent while set from the field to the graveyard, you can search a level 10 machine from your deck to your hand. So you Area 0, send this to the graveyard, search out your Jizukiru, and use the Widow Anchor to search back, so that's a cute little interaction. Kind of why we're running it. Then to round off, we run the 3 Imperms. This is just to turn off a Calamities, or what have you, I think this card's pretty great. It's like, can't be called by the grave, but that's not a problem anymore. So, yeah, that's the main deck, 40 cards. Let's get into the extra deck. Let's throw this over here. My, $400 rogue deck that I can't play in real life. 2 Hayate. This card is like kind of the main one that you're going to want to go to, sends the Striker spell, so it's kind of like it's engage as well. The 2 Kagari to fetch it back. 2 Shizuku to end phase. This is also really great in this OTK Trains version because it lowers the attack of your opponent's monsters, helping you to beat over them. You'll get a lot of spells and graves, so this actually comes up a lot and will help you OTK. Then the 1 Kaina, this is the Earth Machine that actually procs your Earth Machines because you need an Earth Machine on field to summon Bullet Express and win one summon with Derricrane. So that's the synergy there. Also pretty nice because all the Striker links are machines. Then the Zeke, which also makes this deck super possible because it's nice to be able to get back into a Link 1 and on the Shizuku, and the monster removal is really amazing. Comes up a lot, helps you OTK. 1 Anger Knuckle, this could potentially be 2, I think 2 Anger Knuckle is debatable. In this deck we just run the 1, this is also why there's synergy in the deck. You can leave this in the extra monster zone, still be able to proc your set strikers, spell cards, like your Widow Anchors, whatnot, those are kind of your win conditions, and then you can tag it out to use your switch yard. So, it could be interesting to actually run 2 switch yard. I've done that before, so you kind of have 3 copies to be able to make this more effective. But this is what recycles your Bullet Express and Grave to keep cycling through your extra deck since you only run 2 of everything. Pentastag, this is like kind of necessary, but it's a interesting link to use your opponent's monsters into. Also helps you OTK. This could be something else, so it's a flex spot. Then the Soldier of Chaos. This card's like pretty badass, especially in this deck because of the Striker portion. Just ending on this boss monster, beefing it up, is pretty effective. This is more of a control variant. The train stuff is kind of like on the side, which is why we're only running 1 each of all of them. I think maybe Gangradai could probably be another Gustav Max, but Gangradai comes up a lot. It's really nice to be able to bait out negations in your opponent's back row decks with a Derricrane underneath this, because target the card, they bait it out, and then you use the Derricrane to pop another threat on the field. So pretty easy to get rid of stuff. And then the 1 Lieb. Everything's really easy to cycle through in this deck because of Bullet Express and the Hercules base, so you won't really ever run out of extra deck stuff unless it gets banished. But for the most part, people aren't really doing that. Things just go to the grave. Like I said, called buys that one, so no one's playing it. So that is the full deck. I thought it was pretty spicy. I'll just show you guys like my side deck, just some options, token relevant. Because you can actually play Nibiru in this version because we're running all the striker stuff, and I think Nibiru is like definitely one of the better hand traps this format. Because there are going to be a lot of combo decks kind of running wild, and this hits a lot of decks. Pretty nice. Dark Ruler, this could be a main deck card. It's really incredible. Just blow someone out immediately, and then be able to set up your own negations with the striker stuff. Lightning Storm. Lightning Storm! Pretty... yeah, that was like a... what was that lightning bolt meme from like 2002?
Lightning bolt! Lightning bolt! Lightning bolt! Lightning bolt! Lightning bolt!
Sleep!
Lightning bolt! Lightning bolt!
Sleep!
Lightning bolt!
For all you boomers of YouTube. This card's awesome. You could also debate this being main decked as well, but I don't think back row is going to be as much of a threat in this version of the deck. But if it is, you can also side in your 2 jamming waves instead of your afterburners. This can also pop a monster, so it's pretty nice. The red reboot, because it's red reboot, and then for going first, the 3 judgment to kind of prevent the Harpy's Feather Dusters and shit like that.
So any last words you want to tell the audience, Travis?
Yeah, so this deck is like just for fun. You will be able to beat meta decks with it, and in terms of that interesting, cute little combo with Jizukiru, that'll actually come up for you. I thought that was actually pretty funny. 3 Widow Anchor is pretty powerful. It's no wonder why some of these cards are at 1, like especially multi-roll. If that card was at more than 1, like, damn, this deck would be much, much stronger. But yeah, I think it's pretty interesting. Fun little train deck. It's different than all the kind of like Unga Bunga train stuff because I kind of like mixing a control with an OTK deck.
Me have 3 spell and traps in grave. Me activate with anchor.
Bonus card! Yeah, it's fun. Okay, cool. Well, that's the deck profile for you guys.
Thank you
Very
for
fun.
profiling, Travis. I know they missed you out here, man. And
Choo-choo!
Dual
Yeah.
Humor out. Peace, guys.
Peace.